Love. So the internet once again is at an uproar. Let's not say the internet. The black diaspora is once again crackling and crackling, and this time it is because of New Orleans Zulu Parade.
The annual African Zulu Parade in New Orleans is one of the most vibrant and colorful events of Mardi Gras. With its elaborate costumes, booming music, and high-energy performances, it draws thousands of spectators every year. It's a celebration that's deeply woven into the cultural fabric of the city, a tradition that has lasted for generations. But behind the glitter and excitement lies a more complicated truth, a cultural disconnect that many people don't even realize exists.
Hi, my kings and queens. Welcome back once again to another episode of Life of an African Woman, guys. Something actually caught my attention on the internet about my kings and queens from the Zulu tribe and the Zulu kingdom. And guys, if there is something I know and I really cherish so much, is how South Africans majorly hold their culture to heart. Like, they hold it to the extreme. Of course, it's expected because your culture is your roots and your identity and should not be played with, should not be joked with, right? And guys, you might want to ask what is going on. Welcome back to another episode right here on the stable of Life of an African Woman. Happy Easter holidays, happy Easter celebrations to each and every one of you. I trust you all are having a blast for this weekend, for this holiday. If you have whatever you have, whether water, whether wine, whatsoever you can afford, just make yourself happy, because at the end of the day, life is too short to bother on a lot of things that at the end of the day do not really count, right? But at the end of the day, whatever you can find, just make do with that. Be grateful for life, be grateful for health, be grateful for whatever you are today, hoping and believing that tomorrow is greater. Now, before we delve into this video, I want you to appreciate me by hitting on the like button, share and subscribe if this is your first time here. And in other words, thank you for all your love for my previous video, your support. I did even know that the love you guys have for me is this massive. Some of you understood where I was coming from and you were all out to standing in gap, encourage me. You went as far as asking if I am okay. Some of you offered to even, stand with me, show me love and take good care of me when I come to South Africa. I can't just wait at this point to be with you guys. See, I'm deeply in love with each and every one of you, and I can't hold back my emotions and my feelings. I wish I can hold the thousands of you so tight to the point where we would definitely sweat it out, right? I wish, but just know that I do love you. Now, straight up for what we have for today is a topic that's been trending based on what is going on in the Black American, yes, between the Black Americans and the Zulu tribe of South Africa in America, yes. The Black Americans in the New Orleans, yes, African Americans to be precise, deemed it fit that okay, time to time they will always come out to celebrate their culture, which I don't really understand. But in this video, we will take a look at that about their culture, which they named the Zulu culture, and it struck a bell in the heads of South Africans, because as Africans, we all know that we just only have one Zulu tribe in Africa, which is from South Africa, right? Now, the point is, where is the Zulu tribe coming from? Down from the New Orleans in America. Like, what is the history? Where is it coming from? And what is it all about? And looking at it from the angle of South Africans, it's a kind of appropriation of South African culture, twisting the whole thing, turning it in a way to suit your own style and fiction, but at the end of the day, quite different from the original owners. We were made to understand that South African government actually tried to reach out to them to find out what kind of culture are you practicing or are you displaying in your festival celebration called the Zulu. Is it the same in line with what we know? Let's have a better understanding in the nutshell, and it proved abortive, right? In this video, we're going to take a look at a South African lady, yes, who did broke this down, and what the festival celebration actually looks like and how South Africans are taking it currently. I need you to watch till the end and pay attention to details, and at the end of the day, I will come to summarize this.
Love. So the internet once again is at an uproar. Let's not say the internet. The black diaspora is once again crackling and crackling, and this time it is because of New Orleans Zulu Parade. When I first heard the term Zulu Parade, as someone that grew up in South Africa, even though I'm from Zimbabwe, I just imagined Zulu people that migrated to America having a Zulu Parade. Like, that's what I had in mind. But when I looked over and saw it, I was shooketh to the shook. Because what is that? So I had to go on Google and be like, okay, what is the Zulu Parade? And why is everyone in such an uproar about it? Like, let's go back in history. So the Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club is one of the oldest black Mardi Gras squares, I hope I'm saying that correctly, in New Orleans, founded in 1909. It was formed in response to black exclusion from the traditional white-dominated Mardi Gras festivities. Their costumes often featured face paint. Historically, blackface. Basically, the headdresses, spears, and grass skirts intended as a parody of white stereotypes of Africans. The Zulu Parade became a symbol of black resilience, joy, and community pride in a deep segregated Jim Crow era in the South.
The parade has been happening since 1909, when a group of men created a benevolent organization, and they saw a play that depicted the Zulu tribe in Africa. And at that time, hyper-segregation was going on, and the white people in Louisiana said that black people could no longer participate in Mardi Gras. And so what they did was they created a section or a parade in that Mardi Gras, and they dressed up in that Zulu costume, and they also did blackface, which at the time was like a minstrel show, which depicted black people as super villainous and super dark and super African. And so what they did was they said they took reclamation in both of those depictions of themselves and said, you know what, we're going to defy what you are telling us as a race we can or cannot participate in and we can't do. So we're going to show up in blackface, we're going to show up as this tribe we learned about, and we're going to throw it in your face. And that is the start of that conversation, and the start of that Zulu Parade is black people in Louisiana taking reclamation of something, putting power into it, and saying, you know what, you no longer can hold this over my head because I'm proud to be this thing that you think is so dark, so dirty, and so villainous.
So now that we've gotten that part on what it actually is, but that's the one thing that I'm not seeing in the discourse. Like, no one's actually explaining what it actually is and how it started. I just wanted to get that off the bat. And then obviously the Zulu people, the Zulu nation. So for those who don't know, let me do a little quick recap on who the Zulu people are. The Zulu are one of the largest, most influential groups within South Africa. They are a part of the Nguni people, and they speak the language called isiZulu. Zulu people are known for their strong warrior history and cultural pride, and basically leadership skills. My neighbor was a Zulu man. In fact, one of my best friends was actually Zulu, and they're very like, you know it's a Zulu person, it's a Zulu man, because they really embody that leadership and just pride within their culture. You don't have to question, you can see it. So the Zulu nation was officially established in 1816 under Shaka Zulu, and Shaka united smaller clans into a powerful kingdom through military innovation and diplomacy. Under his rule, the Zulu nation became a dominant force in southern Africa, resisting colonial forces and expanding territory. And they're also known for the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879, I think. See, I'm forgetting my history over here. Like, yeah, I think we get the point of who the Zulu people are. Fast forward today, the Zulu tribe is one of those tribes that really stick to their roots, stick to their culture, and are not whitewashed. Even today, their culture has been so significant that it's been featured in, blockbuster movies, what it's called, such as Black Panther. Some of the American movies that are made depicting African culture, it's most of the time has been Zulu culture, but presented as African culture. But like, yeah, that's how influential Zulu is within the world in general. So going back to America, so now that we've seen a bit of context to that, let's discuss why Zulu South African people are mad. South Africans see this as a disrespectful and see what New Orleans is doing as a caricature, like making fun, like disrespecting their culture. Valid, absolutely valid point. The outfits, the whole thing, it just does not represent who Zulu people are, the actual Zulu people are. So their concerns are not just like out of the blue, like them being uneducated, because that's always like the thing, like the argument. I hate that so much when Africans especially are complaining about something within the diaspora, or in general, people always coming to their whole educated thing, like, you guys need to educate yourself, like kind of going on that stereotype that Africans aren't educated and don't know what they're talking about, and they need to Google things. You guys have computers, a lot of stuff like that, but these are actual Zulu people. So that's all you need. So the name Zulu isn't just like some random like name, like, yeah, we can just use that, plaster it over there, have our own history, and that's that. Zulu has so much more significance to the Zulu people, so using it and not putting the right context or making the history accurate, it's almost like an erasure of the Zulu nation, or exploitation, or again, cultural appropriation. And even though the Zulu Parade has a long history on why they do the blackface and how that is mockery, or in mockery of what they were made fun of, now in the Lord year of 2025, that is not okay. Like, regardless of what the history is, and the fact that, and by Zulu people and me, I guess, it's seen as perpetuating the idea of blackface, and it really does come across very, very offensive. I think one of the reasons that also just makes it kind of damning, the whole thing, is that the lack of collaboration, within this whole thing. I just watched this video, I'm gonna link it down below, but let me play a clip from it.
And on the other side, also then educating those that are participating in this festival that as times change, the way they do things perhaps also needs to change to be in line with the definitions of what it is that they're trying to bestow, so that cultures are not misconstrued. Because, of course, very many people, including, of course, as yourself, Zulus, are indeed very territorial about their culture. Zulus are indeed very territorial about their culture.
Well, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, just coincidentally, last year I made a call to this office in New Orleans because I wanted to reach out to them. I had gone to a festival, a jazz festival in Washington, D.C., and there was a lady who kept standing up and dancing. She had a yellow umbrella written Zulu on it. And I went to talk to her after the show, and she told me that she's a member of the Zulu Social Aid in New Orleans. And I said, we need to talk because I think there could be some collaboration and also some awareness about what you are doing and also what we are also doing in South Africa. And unfortunately, the call went unanswered for the whole week. So getting back to the point that you are raising, yes, I honestly do think that there has to be that. Because if we were to ask a fundamental question, so what? So what do we want them to do?
Do you see how he said that he, try? That's just like one example, obviously, how he tried to communicate with that lady that had the Zulu name, to collaborate with an actual Zulu person, but there was no, sense of collaboration and just like understanding and, dialogue. I think that's what's happening right now, where people that are defending the Zulu Parade are not really open to like hearing what actual Zulu people are saying. And in that way, if there's a conversation, the Zulu Parade can be turned and can evolve into something where everyone is happy. But like, there's that just disconnect where it's like, no, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to listen to you, even though you are the original person that started this. We don't care what you have to say because this is our history. We take, you understand what I'm saying? Like, just the lack of acknowledging part, that's just like kind of triggering. And that's also going towards the whole cultural appropriation thing that we always fight about, where whenever Black Americans are talking about things and cultural appropriation, they want, the diaspora to back them up in those things. And like 50% of the time, the Africans don't really get it. And they're just like, I don't care if white people wear braids, where it's like, oh, y'all understand that. But like when we are complaining, you don't get it. It's like, it's a bit weird. So there's definitely like a complicated truth to this. It's definitely just like two different histories that are just clashing together. The South African Zulus ethnic group with roots going back centuries, and then you have a Black American Kwewe created in resistance. Then you have the deep royal traditions, Shaka Zulu, for example, and then you have the youth Zulu name as a.
The annual African Zulu Parade in New Orleans is one of the most vibrant and colorful events of Mardi Gras. With its elaborate costumes, booming music, and high-energy performances, it draws thousands of spectators every year. It's a celebration that's deeply woven into the cultural fabric of the city, a tradition that has lasted for generations. But behind the glitter and excitement lies a more complicated truth, a cultural disconnect that many people don't even realize exists. This disconnect has caused real pain for the Zulu people of South Africa, whose name and culture are being used in ways that feel inaccurate and even disrespectful. While the parade may appear to honor African heritage, many Zulu people see it as a caricature, a version of their culture that's been filtered through misunderstanding and stereotypes. This isn't just about costumes or music, it's about the importance of cultural accuracy and the responsibility that comes with representing someone else's heritage. The main issue is that the parade's portrayal of Zulu culture often bears little resemblance to the real thing, reducing a rich living tradition to a theatrical performance. It's not just about the visuals, it's about the meaning behind them, the stories, the history, the values that are lost in translation. And when those meanings are ignored or distorted, it can feel like a mockery rather than a tribute. It turns a proud and complex identity into something cartoonish, something that doesn't reflect the dignity of the people it claims to represent. And that kind of misrepresentation isn't just inaccurate, it's deeply hurtful. It erases the voices of the people whose culture is being used. The Zulu people deserve more than that. They deserve to have their heritage portrayed with care, with truth, and with respect. But let's be clear. This isn't about shutting down the parade or cancelling a beloved tradition. What the Zulu people are asking for is simple: understanding, respect, and a willingness to listen. This isn't about blame. It's about learning. It's about recognizing that good intentions aren't always enough. It's about opening up a dialogue, one where both sides can share, listen, and grow. Because when we truly listen to each other, we can create celebrations that are not only joyful, but also meaningful and inclusive. That takes effort. It takes humility. And most of all, it takes a commitment to honoring the cultures we celebrate. Through honest conversations and a shared desire to do better, we can bridge the gap between intention and impact. And in doing so, we can build a future where cultural celebration is not just colorful, but also conscious, respectful, and real.
Wow. This was a clear articulation of this young lady, as seen and as explained by the news of what South African Zulu culture is. Meanwhile, if you are a Zulu tribe, let me know in the comment section. Signify, identify yourself in the comment section, because I am really impressed. Like, I like the fact that you guys are coming out to, stand up to say no, this is not our culture, this is not how we represent our culture, and the attires and everything is totally an appropriation of our culture and needs to be addressed, and that is what is going on here. And I appreciate the fact that most of you South Africans actually do love and stand up for your culture, because our culture is our history and is something that we hold dear. And for most countries, you see, they will just ignore and let it slide, but standing up to it, to say no, we have a spiritual, a physical, a social, and an environmental ties and meaning owed to this culture. And the spiritual part of it is something you don't joke with, because I believe personally all cultures have spiritual implications from the ancestors. In case you don't know, I do believe. Yes, because we have ancestors. Our ancestors are our forefounders, our forefighters, the first set of people that started the culture. So their spirit lives on, even though they are dead. Exactly. And they need to be respected. Whatever they put out and however they got our culture that we practice as citizens of different countries should not be a wasted effort. Because at the end of the day, what makes us responsible, what makes us stand out, is our culture and our history. That's why you see, till tomorrow, without culture we are nothing, without tribe we are nothing, without ethnicity we are nothing. And that is why I tell people, no matter whom you are, do not disrespect people's culture. Do not go to other people's country to display your own culture in disrespect of their land, because every land have their culture, have their traditions, and have the spiritual bindings tied to it, or to it. It takes a wise and a sensible person to understand this. No matter my level of spirituality and Christianity, I know and understand these things and I respect it. That's why the other day when I came out to counter what the Igbos we are trying to do in South Africa, some of them came for me, they called me names, they said all manner of things, but I did not take it to heart, because I still stand for what I stand and believe what I believe. I cannot take my culture that is sacred, like sacred to me, sacred to us as a people and as a tribe, as a community, as a state, down to other people's country to display it. It's an abomination, it's a taboo, it's a disrespect and a disgrace. And when I see people try to twist, misinterpret, appropriate other people's culture, I see it as a form of disrespect. I see it as a form of disgrace and embarrassment. And that's what the New Orleans are doing. And they need to be stopped, they need to be checked, because at this point, it is not good. The spiritual implication of this has its own consequences, in case they don't know. So Africa is a continent with strong ties, spiritual ties and bond that binds us with our culture, our history, our tradition, and our identity. So in summary and in a nutshell, no individual, no citizen, no tribe, no country should disrespect, dishonor, commit sacrilege with other people's culture. If you go to people's country, respect the laws, respect the culture, respect the traditions. Even though you are not in their country, don't steal people's culture, don't steal people's tradition, and twist it to fine tune your own. It's stealing. It's stealing. That's the way I see it. So to the African Americans in the New Orleans, they should have a rethink. They better have a rethink. And I pray this is being resolved amicably, right? Exactly. And this is to say that for every tribe and culture in South Africa, keep standing tall, keep holding your culture, your tradition, as your pride, and everything you hold sacred, right? Because at the end of the day, the spirit of our ancestors will always be with us, and the spirit of God Almighty will continually dwell with us. Now, this is the season and the weekend of Easter celebration, where Christ did die for us, pay the price on the cross of Calvary years and decades ago. And this is the reason why we are saved, by the blood of the lamb shed on the cross of Calvary. And indeed, he has paid the price, and we are free, and free indeed, of all bondage, all stagnation and setback, every problems and challenge we have encountered. This marks the end and brings it to an end. As he lays 6 feet below, he's buried with all our problems, our difficulties, our illnesses, our challenges. And by the time he will resurrect on the Easter morning, he will resurrect with sounds of victory bestowed upon us, and we will stand up and resurrect with him victoriously, triumphantly, overcoming death, coming all our challenges, all our shortcomings, our difficulties, by the special grace of God. Amen. So happy weekend, happy Easter to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for all your love. And at this point, what do you think about today's episode, the topic being addressed and raised? I don't want this video to be too lengthy. Leave all of them in the comment section. Like I said, in case you are forgetting, do not forget your culture, your history, no matter where you are. Stand up for it and uphold it. Remember, I do love you, and I will always love each and every one of you, cut across different countries, especially my kings and queens from South Africa. Remember, your girl Tando is saying happy Easter to each and every one of you out there. Now, say something sweet and beautiful to me in the comment section. As you hit on the like button, share and subscribe. If this is the first time here, don't make it your last. And I will see you in my next one. But for now, do have a lovely, blessed, a peaceful, happy, and a successful day out there. Ciao, ciao. Mwah.